Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 36. Topics: The wonderful stories of the two gentlemen from Goa and Mrs. Aurangabadkar. The two gentlemen. Two men came from Goa to receive Baba's darshan and prostrated themselves before him. Though both came together, Baba asked only one of them to give him 15 rupees as dakshina, which was paid willingly. The other man voluntarily offered 35 rupees, and this sum was rejected by Baba to everyone's astonishment. Shama, who was present, asked Baba, "What is this? Both came together. Once dakshina you accept, the other, though voluntarily paid, you refused. Why this distinction?" Baba replied, "Shama, you know nothing. I take nothing from anybody. The Masjid Mai, the presiding deity of Masjid, calls for the debt and the donor pays it and becomes free. Have I any home, property, or family to look after? I require nothing and am always free. Debt, enmity, and murder have to be atoned for. There is no escaping them." Baba then continued to tell a story in this characteristic way. At first, he was poor and vowed to his God that he would give away his first month's salary if he got hired. He got a job which paid 15 rupees per month. Then he steadily got promotions. He later earned rupees 30, 60, 100, 200, and ultimately 700 per month. But amidst his prosperity, he completely forgot the O. The force of his karma was driving him here, and thus I asked for the amount of 15 rupees from him as dakshina. Another story. While wandering by the seaside, I came to a huge mansion and sat on its veranda. The owner was hospitable and fed me sumptuously. He gave me a neat and clean place near a cupboard to sleep, and I slept there. While I was sound asleep, the man removed a slab and broke the wall, entered my room, and stole all the money in my pocket. When I woke up, I found that 30,000 rupees had been stolen from my pocket. It was very distressed and sat weeping and mourning. The money was in currency notes, and I knew the man had stolen it. I lost all interest in food and sat for a fortnight on the veranda, bemoaning my loss. After a fortnight, a passing fakir saw me crying and asked me why I was crying. I told him everything. He said, "If you act according to what I tell you, you will recover your money. Go to a fakir, I shall give you his whereabouts. Surrender yourself to him. He will get your money back. In the meanwhile, give up your favorite food till you recover your money." I followed the fakir's advice and got my money back. Then I left the mansion and went to the seashore. I found a steamer that was ready to leave, but I could not get into it as it was crowded. Then a good natured peon interceded for me, and I was luckily able to board it. That brought me to another shore where I boarded a train and came to the Masjid Mai. Baba finished telling the story and asked Shama to take the guests and arrange for their meals. Then Shama took them home and served them dinner. At dinner, Shama said that Baba's story was rather mysterious, as he had never been to the sea, never had any money, never traveled, never lost any money or recovered it, and inquired whether they had understood it and caught its significance. The guests were deeply moved and were shedding tears. In a choking voice, they said that Baba was the omniscient, infinite, and Parabrahma. They said that the stories he told were their stories. What he spoke had already taken place in their case. How Baba knew all this was truly divine. Then, after the meal, While they were chewing betel leaves, the guests began to tell their stories. The first one said, "A hill station on the Ghats is my native place. I went to Goa to earn a living, and I took a vote to God Datta that if I got a job, I would offer him my first month's salary. By his grace, I got a job that paid 15 rupees and then steadily got promotion as described by Baba. I forgot all about my O. Baba has just reminded me of it in this way and recovered 15 rupees from me. It is not dakshina as one may think it to be, but repayment of an old debt and fulfillment of a long forgotten O." Baba never actually begged for any money or allowed his bhaktas to beg. He regarded money as a danger or bar to spiritual progress and did not allow his bhaktas to fall into its clutches. Malsapati is an example of this. He was very poor and could hardly make both ends meet. Yet Baba never allowed him to make any money, nor gave him anything from the dakshina collected. Once, a kind and a liberal merchant named Hansraj gave a large amount of money to Malsapati in Baba's presence, but Baba would not allow him to accept it. Then the second guest began his tale. "My cook had been working for me faithfully for 35 years. Unfortunately, he fell into bad ways. His mind changed and he robbed me of my wealth. By removing a slab from the wall of my cupboard, he came in while we were all asleep and stole all my accumulated wealth, 30,000 rupees in currency notes. I do not know how Baba knew the exact amount. I sat crying day and night. My inquiries came to nothing, and I spent a fortnight in great anxiety. As I sat on the veranda, sad and dejected, a passing fakir saw my conditions and inquired of its cause. I told him all about it. He told me that a great saint named Sai lives in Shirdi. Make your oath to him and give up any food that you like best, and tell him that I have given up eating that food till I receive your darshan. He said, then I took the oath and gave up eating rice and said, Baba, I will eat it after recovering my property and after receiving your darshan. 15 days after this, my cook of his own accord came to me, returned my money, and apologized, saying, I went mad and acted thus. I now place my head at your feet. Please forgive me. Thus everything ended well. The fakir that met and helped me was not seen again. An intense desire to see Sai Baba arose. I thought that the fakir who came all the way to my house was no other than Sai Baba himself. Would he who saw me and helped me to get my lost money ever covet 35 rupees? On the contrary, without expecting anything from us, he always tries his best to lead us on the path of spiritual progress. I was I was overjoyed when I recovered my stolen property and thus began infatuated, forgot all about my O. Then, when I was at Kolaba, one night I saw Sai Baba in my dreams, thus reminded me of my promised visit to Shirdi. I went to Goa and from there wanted to leave to Shirdi by making a steamer to Bombay. But when I came to the harbour, I found that the steamer was crowded and there was no space in it. The captain would not allow me to board, but on the intercession of a peon who was a stranger to me, I was allowed to board the steamer which brought me to Bombay. From there, I got in train and came here. I definitely think Baba's all pervading and omniscient. Who are we and where is our home? Great indeed is our good fortune that Baba helped us get our money back and drew us here to him. You Shirdi folk must be infinitely superior and more fortunate than us, for Baba has played, laughed, talked, and lived with you for so many years. I think that your store of merits must be infinite, for it attracted Baba to Shirdi. Sai Datta, he ordered the woe, gave me a seat in the steamer, and brought me here, and thus gave proof of his omniscience and omnipotence. The second topic is Mrs. Aurangabadkar, a lady from Sholapur. Mrs. Aurangabadkar had no children in 27 years of married life. She had made a number of vows to gods and goddesses for a child but was not successful. She then felt almost hopeless. As a last attempt in the matter, she came to Shirdi with a stepson and stayed there for 2 months and served Baba with devotion. Whenever she went to the masjid, she found Baba surrounded by devotees. She wanted to see Baba alone, fall at his feet, and pray that she may have a child, but she was unable to find a suitable opportunity to speak to Baba. Ultimately, she requested Shama to intercede with Baba when he was alone. Shama said to her that though Baba's darbar was open, he would try for her and that the Lord might bless her. He asked her to wait with a coconut and incense in the open courtyard when Baba was having his meals, and when he beckoned her, she should come up. One day after dinner, Shama was wiping Baba's wet hands with a towel when the latter pinched Shama's cheek. Shama, feigning anger, said, Deva, is it proper for you to pinch me like this? We don't want such a mischievous God who pinches us like this. Are we your dependents? Is this the fruit of our devotion? Baba replied, Oh Shama, during the 72 generations that you were with me, I have never pinched you till now, and now you resent my touching you? Shama, we want a God that will always give us kisses and sweets to eat, and we do not want any respect from you. Let our faith unto your feet always be strong, Baba. Yes, I have indeed come for that and have been feeding and nursing you and have lots of love and affection for you. Then Baba went and sat down. Shama beckoned the lady. She came up, bowed, and presented the coconut and incense sticks. Baba shook the coconut, which was dry. The kernel within it rolled and made a noise. Baba said, Shama, this is rolling. See what it says, Shama. The woman prays that a child might similarly roll and grow in her womb. Please give her the coconut with your blessings. Baba, will the coconut give her a child? It's so foolish that people fancy such things. Shama, I know the power of your words and blessings. Your words will give her strength. You're wrangling and not giving real blessings. The parley went on for a while, Baba repeatedly ordering to come break the coconut and Shama pleading for the gift of the unbroken fruit for the lady. Finally, Baba yielded and said she will have a child. When asked Shama, in 12 months was the reply. The coconut was therefore broken in two parts. One was eaten by two and the other was given to the lady. Then Shama turned to the lady and said, Madam, you are a witness to my words. If within 12 months you do not have a child, I will break a coconut against this Deva's head and drive him out of this masjid. If I fail in this, I will not call myself mother. You will soon realize what I say. A year later, she gave birth to a boy, and the son was brought to Baba in his 5th month. Both husband and wife prostrated themselves before Baba, and grateful father, Mr. Aurangabadkar, paid a sum of rupees 500, which was spent in constructing a shield for Baba's horse, Shamakarna. End of chapter 36. Om Sai Ram, Om Sachidananda Sadguru, Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram, welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 37. Topics: Hemad Pant describes the Chavadi procession. Preliminary: Blessed is Sai's life and his daily routine. His ways and actions are indescribable. At times, he was intoxicated with Brahmanand, that is the divine joy, and at other times content with knowledge of the self. Despite doing so many things, he was not concerned with them at all. Though he seemed at times physically motionless, he was not idle or asleep. He always abided in his own self. Though He looked as calm and quiet as the placid sea. He was deep and unfathomable. Who can describe his ineffable nature? He regarded men as brothers and women as sisters and mothers. He was a perfect and perpetual celibate. May the knowledge we got through his acquaintance last us unto our death. Let us always serve him with wholehearted devotion to his feet. Let us see him in all beings and let us always love his name. Hemad Pant, after making some lengthy dissertations on some topics in the Vedanta, which he himself considers a digression, goes on to describe the Chavadi procession. The Chavadi procession, Baba's dormitory, has already been described. Every alternate day, he slept in the Chavdi, a small building containing a room or two near the masjid. This alternate sleeping routine in both these buildings continued till Baba's Maha Samadhi. From the 10th of December 1909, devotees began to worship Baba in the Chavdi. We will now describe this with His grace. When it was night that Baba would be spending in the Chavdi, people flocked to the masjid and sang bhajans in the courtyard of the masjid for a few hours. Behind them was a beautiful ratha, that is a small horse-drawn cart. To the right, a tulsi vrindavan, that is a decorative structure with a tulsi plant in it, and in front of Baba. Devotees who were fond of singing devotional songs. Some played on various musical instruments while singing. Sai Baba was the magnet who drew all the devotees to him. Outside the courtyard, some held their torches, some decorated the palanquin, while others stood with canes in their hands and shouted out cries of victory to Baba. The corners of the masjid were decorated with buntings. All around the masjid, rows of burning lamps shed their light. Baba's horse, Shamakarna, stood fully decorated outside. Then Tatya Patil came with a party of men to Baba and asked him to be ready. Baba sat quietly in his place till Tatya came and helped him to get up by putting his arm under Baba's armpit. Tatya called Baba Mama, Mama, the maternal uncle. In reality, their relationship was extremely close. Baba wore the usual kafni, that is the long robe, placed his short stick under his armpit, and after picking up his tobacco pipe and tobacco and placing a cloth over his shoulder, was ready to start. Then Tatya draped Baba in a beautiful golden embroidered shawl. After this, Baba moved the bundle of firewood lying behind him with his right toe. And then, after extinguishing the burning lamp with his right hand, started for the chavdi. Then all sorts of musical instruments played and fireworks exhibited their different colors and sounds. Men and women singing Baba's name started walking and singing bhajans to the accompaniment of musical instruments. Some danced with joy and some carried various flags. Men announced Baba's name when he stood on the steps of the masjid. To either side of Baba stood persons who fanned Baba with large hat fans. The path on which Baba walked was covered with layers of cloth. Tatya held his left hand and Malsapati the right, while Bapu Sahib Jog held a decorative umbrella over his head. In this fashion, Baba marched on to the Chavdi. The fully decorated horse, Shamakarna, led the way, and behind him were all the carriers, waiters, musicians, and the crowd of devotees. Harinama, chanted to the accompaniment of music, filled the skies as also did this name of Sai. In this manner, the procession reached the corner when all the persons that joined the party seemed pleased and delighted. On reaching the corner, Baba stood facing the chavdi and shone with a peculiar luster. It seemed as if Baba's face glittered like dawn or like the glory of the rising sun. Baba stood there with a concentrated mind facing the north as if he was calling somebody. All the instruments played the music while Baba moved his right arm up and down for some time. Kaka Sahib Dikshit then came forward with a silver plate containing flowers besmeared with gulal, that is the red powder, and showered them on Baba's body. The musical instruments played their best at this juncture, and Baba's face beamed with steady and added radiance and beauty. Everyone present drank this luster to their heart's content. Words fail to describe the scene and splendor of this occasion. Sometimes Malsapati would begin to dance possessed by some deity, but everyone was rather surprised to see that despite this sudden distraction, Baba's concentration was not in the least bit disturbed. With a lantern in his hand, Tatya Patil walked on Baba's left side and Bhagat Malsapati on the right, holding with his hand the hem of Baba's garment. What a beautiful procession and what an expression of devotion! To witness this, men and women, poor and rich, flocked to the masjid. Baba walked very slowly. The devotees followed on both the sides with love and devotion. With joy pervading the atmosphere, the procession reached the Chavdi. That scene and those days are gone now. Nobody can see them now or in the future, but by remembering and visualizing the scene, we can bring solace and comfort to our mind. The Chavdi was also fully decorated with a white ceiling mirrors and many types of lamps. On reaching it, Tatya went ahead and placed a parrot seat with a bluster on it and asked Baba to sit on it. He also gave Baba a good coat to wear. Then the devotees worshipped him in various ways. They placed a crown with a tuft on his head, placed garlands of flowers and jewels around his neck, and marking his forehead with musk mixed vertical lines and a dot, as Vaishnava devotees do. They stared at him for a long time to their heart's content. They changed his headdress now, then, and held it aloft on his head, fearing that Baba might throw it away. Baba knew the hearts of them all and meekly submitted to all their methods without objection. With these decorations, he looked wonderfully beautiful. Nana Sahib Nimonkar held the chatra, that is the umbrella with its beautiful pendants. Papu Sahib Jog washed Baba's feet in a silver dish and offered arghya and worship with due formalities. He then besmeared Baba's arms with sandal paste and offered Baba betel leaves. Baba sat and Tatya and others kept alternately standing and falling at his feet. When Baba sat, supporting himself against the bluster, devotees on both the sides waved fans. Shama then prepared the chilim, that is the pipe, and handed over it to Tatya, who drew a flame out of it and then gave it to Baba. After Baba had a smoke, it was given to Bhagat Mal Sapati and then it was passed around to everyone. Blessed was the inanimate chilim, for it first had to undergo many ordeals of penance, such as being treated by pot makers, dried in the open sun and baked in the kiln, and then it had the good fortune of the divine touch of Baba's hands and his kiss. After the ceremony was over, devotees put garlands around his neck and gave him bunches of flowers to smell. Baba, who was dispassion or non-attachment incarnate, did not care much for all these necklaces of jewels, garlands of flowers and other ornaments, but out of real love for his devotees, he allowed them to have their own way. Finally, Bapu Sahib Jog waved the arati over the Baba, observing all due formalities, while the musical instruments played their auspicious tunes. When this arti was over, the devotees returned home after bowing to Baba and taking his leave. When Tatya Patil, after offering Chilim Atar a scent and rose water, was about to leave, Baba said to him lovingly, "Guard me, go if you like, but return sometimes at night and enquire after me." Replying in the affirmative, Tatya left the chavdi and went home. Then Baba himself prepared his bed. He spread out 50 or 60 white sheets, one upon the other, and thus making his bed, went to sleep. We shall all now rest and close this chapter with a request to the readers that they should remember Sai Baba and the Chavdi procession daily before they retire and go to bed. End of chapter 37. Om Sai Ram, Om Satchidananda Sadguru, Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 38. Topics: Baba's Handi, disrespect of a shrine, Kala or hodgepodge, Hemad Pant's cup of buttermilk. Preliminary. Oh, blessed Sadguru Sai, we bow to you. You have given happiness to the world, safeguarded the welfare of your devotees, and have destroyed the afflictions of those who have resorted to your feet. You are very liberal and the protector and savior of devotees who surrender themselves to you. You incarnate yourself in this world to oblige people and to do them good. The liquid essence of the pure self was poured into the mold of Brahma, and out of this has come the crest jewel of the saints, Sai. This Sai is Atma Rama himself. He is the abode of perfect divine bliss. Having himself attained all the objects of life, he made his devotees desireless and free. Baba's Handi, different sadhanas, are prescribed in our scriptures for different ages. Tapa is recommended for the Kreta age, Gnana, that is knowledge, for the Treta age, Yagna, that is sacrifice, for the Dwapara age, and Dana, that is charity, for the Kali, that is the current age. Of all the forms of charity, giving food is the best. We are very perturbed when we have no food and are hungry. Other beings feel similarly under similar circumstances. Thus, he who gives food to the poor and hungry is in fact the best donor. The Taittiriya Upanishad says that food is Brahma. From food, all creatures are born. By food, they live, and having departed into food, they again enter. When an uninvited guest comes to your door at noon, it is our bounden duty to welcome him by giving him food. Other kinds of charity, giving away wealth, property, and clothes, require some discrimination. But in the matter of food, no such consideration is necessary. Let anybody come to our door at noon, he should be served forthwith, and if lame, crippled, blind, and diseased paupers come, they should be fed before the able bodied. Other kinds of charity are imperfect without the giving of food. Just as stars are without the moon, a necklace is without its central pendant, or singing is without a sweet voice. The giving of food is thus the best form of charity. It has been stated before that Baba required very little food for himself, and what little he needed was obtained by begging from a few houses. But when he decided to distribute food to everyone, he made all the preparation from beginning to the end, all by himself. He did not depend on anybody and did not trouble anyone in this matter. First, he went to the bazaar and bought all the things he needed: corn, flour, spices, etc. He also did the grinding himself. In the open courtyard of the masjid, he arranged a big hearth and, after lighting a fire in it, placed a handi. Handi is nothing but a cooking pot over it with a proper measure of water. There were two kinds of handi, one small and the other one was big. The former provided food for 50 people, while the latter could serve to a people of 100. Sometimes he cooked meate chawal, that is sweet rice, and at other times pulao with meat. At times in the boiling varan, that is the soup, he added small balls of thick or flat breads of wheat flour. He pounded the spices on a stone slab and put the thin pulverized spices into the cooking pot. He took all the pains possible to make the dishes very palatable. He prepared ambil by boiling jawari flour in water, mixing it with buttermilk. He served this ambil with the food to everyone. To see whether the food was properly cooked or not, Baba rolled up the sleeves of his kafni and put his bare arm in the boiling cauldron without the least fear and stirred the whole pot of food. There was no burning marks on his arm or fear on his face. When the cooking was complete, Baba got the pots in the masjid duly consecrated by the priest. First, he sent some of the food to Prasad to Malsapati and Tatya Patil, and then he served the remaining contents with his own hands to all the poor and helpless people or the heart's content. Blessed and fortunate indeed were those people who got food prepared by Baba and served by him. Somebody may raise a doubt here and ask, did Baba distribute vegetarian and non vegetarian food as prasad to all his devotees? The answer is plain and simple. Those who were non vegetarian or those who were like the non vegetarian food were given food from the handi as prasad, and those who were not accustomed were not allowed to touch it. He never created in them any wish of desire to indulge in this food. There is a simple principle that when a guru himself gives anything as prasad, the disciple who doubts whether it is acceptable goes to perdition. In order to see how any disciple has imbibed this principle, Baba at times proposed a test. For instance, on an Ekadashi day, he gave Dada Kelkar a few rupees, asked him to go in person to Korhala to buy mutton. Dada Kelkar was an orthodox Brahmin and maintained all orthodox conventions in his life. He knew that offering wealth, grain, and clothes to a Sadguru was not enough. He knew the implicit obedience to and prompt compliance with Baba's orders was the real dakshina that pleased him the most. So, Dada Kelkar dressed himself and started for the place. Then Baba called him back and said, "Don't go yourself, send somebody instead." Then Dada decided to send his servant Pandu for the purpose. Seeing him out to leave, Baba asked Dada to call him back and cancel that program altogether. On another occasion, Baba asked Dada to see how salty the pulao, that is the mutton dish, was. The latter said rather formally that it was all right. Then Baba said to him, "Neither have you seen it with your eyes or tasted it with your tongue, then how could you say that it was good? Just take off the lid and see." Saying this, Baba caught hold of his arm and thrust it into the pot and added, "Draw out your arm and put some quantity in the dish without caring for your orthodoxy and without blustering." When a wave of real love rises in a mother mind, she pinches her child, and when it begins to cry, she holds the child close to her bosom. Similarly, Baba, in a truly mother way, pinched Dada Kelkar. In reality, no saint or guru will ever force his orthodox disciple to eat forbidden food and defile himself thereby. The handi business went on till 1910 and was stopped thereafter. As stated before, Das Ganu spread the fame of Baba by his kirtanas in the Bombay residency, and people from other parts of the country began to flock to Shirdi. Shirdi soon became a place of pilgrimage. The devotees brought with them various dishes for Baba as Naivedya. The quantity of Naivedya offered by them was so much that the fakirs and the paupers could feed themselves to their heart's content, even leaving some extra food behind. Before stating how Naivedya was distributed, we shall refer to Nana Sahib Chandorkar's story showing Baba's regard and respect for local shrines and deities. Nana Sahib's disrespect of a shrine. By drawing inferences of or guessing, some people believed that Sai was Hindu. Well, some people believed that he was a Muslim. In fact, he belonged to no single caste or religion. No one knew exactly where he was born, to what community he was born into, or who his parents were. Then how could he be a Muslim or a Hindu? If he were a Muslim, how could he keep the dhuni, sacred fire, always burning in the masjid? How could there be a Tulsi Vrindavan near Shirdi, or Vrindavan in Shirdi? How could he allow the blowing of conch shell and the ringing bells? And how could he allow the playing of musical instrument and the different forms of Hindu worship in the masjid? Had he been a Muslim, would he have pierced ears and would have spent money from his pocket to repair Hindu temple? On the contrary, he never tolerated the slightest disrespect to Hindu shrines and deities. Once Nana Sahib Chandorkar came to Shirdi with the husband of his sister-in-law, Mr. Biniwale. When they went to the masjid and sat before Baba talking, the latter suddenly got angry with Nana Sahib and said, "You have been in my company so long, and then how could you behave like this?" Nana Sahib at first did not understand anything and humbly requested Baba to explain. Ba- Baba asked him how he had traveled to Kopargaon and then came to Shirdi from there. Nana Sahib at once realized his mistake. He usually worshipped the shrine of Datta on the banks of the Godavari at Kopargaon on his way to Shirdi, but this time he dissuaded his relative, who was a Datta devotee, from receiving darshan at that shrine to avoid delay and drove straight to Shirdi. He confessed all this to Baba and told him that while bathing in the Godavari, a big thorn had gone into his foot and had given him a lot of trouble. Baba said that this was the smallest punishment he could get and want him to be more careful in the future. Kala. After the aarti was over and after Baba sent everyone away with udi and blessings, he went inside and sat with his back to the wall among two rows of devotees, one on each side. The bhaktas who brought Naivedya waited with their dishes such as puris, mande, polis, basundi, and sanza for prasad consecrated by Baba. All the food was mixed in a hodgepodge and placed before Baba. He offered it to all to God and consecrated it. Then portion of the same were given to the persons waiting outside, and the rest was served to the people inside. The devotees then dined to their heads' content. Baba asked Shama and Nana Sahib Nimonkar to serve the consecrated food to everyone sitting inside and look to their individual needs and comforts. This they did very carefully and willingly. Every morsel of the food thus partaken gave the devotees nutrition and satisfaction. It was truly sweet, lovely, and divine food. A cup of buttermilk. Once Hemant Pant had eaten his full in this company when Baba offered him a cup of buttermilk. Its white appearance pleased him, but he was afraid that there was no space inside for it. Nevertheless, he took a sip, which proved very tasty. Baba saw his hesitation and said, "Drink it all. You won't get such an opportunity again." He drank it and found that Baba's words were prophetic, for he passed away soon. Dear readers, we certainly have to thank Hemant Pant, for he drank the cup of buttermilk and supplied us with a sufficient quantity of nectar in the form of Baba's Leelas. Let us drink cups and cups of this nectar and be satisfied and happy. Om Sai Ram. Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 39. Topics: Baba's knowledge of Sanskrit, his interpretation of a verse from the Gita, and the construction of the Samadhi Mandir. Some believed that Baba did not know Sanskrit, and Hemant Pant wrote another chapter, that is chapter 50, refuting that notion. As that chapter deals with the same subject matter, it is incorporated into this chapter. Preliminary: Blessed is Shirdi, blessed is the Dwarka Mai, where Sri Sai lived. And blessed are the people of Shirdi whom he obliged and for whom he travelled such a long distance. Shirdi was a small village at first, but it attained great importance on account of his contact and became a tirtha, a holy place of pilgrimage. Equally blessed are the womenfolk of Shirdi. Blessed is their whole and undivided faith in him. They sang the glories of Baba while bathing, grinding, pounding corn, and doing other household work. Blessed is their love, for they sang sweet songs which calm and pacify the minds of the singers and the listeners. Baba's interpretation: Nobody believed that Baba knew Sanskrit. One day he surprised everyone by providing a good interpretation of a verse from the Gita to Nana Sahib Chandorkar. A brief account about this matter was written by Mr. B.V. Dew, retired Mamaldar, and published in Marathi in the Sri Sai Leela magazine. Short accounts of the same were also published in Sai Baba's Charters and Saying and in the Wondrous Saint Sai Baba, both by B.V. Narasimha Swami. Mr. B.V. has also written an English version of this in his statement dated 27 September 1936. As Mr. B.V. had first hand information about this matter from Nana Sahib himself, his version is given below. Nana Sahib Chandorkar was an avid student of Vedanta. He had read the Gita with its commentaries and prided himself on his knowledge in that domain. He fancied that Baba knew nothing of all this or of the Sanskrit language, so Baba one day pricked that bubble. These were the days before crowds flocked to Shirdi, when Baba had solitary talks at the masjid with a very few devotees. Nana was sitting near Baba and was massaging his legs and mumbling something to himself. The conversation is: Baba, Baba said, "Nana, what are you mumbling to yourself?" Then Nana said, "I am reciting a verse in Sanskrit." Baba: "What verse?" Nana: "It's from the Bhagavad Gita." Baba: "Say it out loud." Nana then recited, which is as follows: Tadvitti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam gnana nishtadvadarshina. Then Baba said, Nana, do you understand it? Nana said yes. Baba, if you do, then tell me what it means. Nana, it means by Sashtanga Namaskar, questioning the Guru, and by serving him, learn that Gnana is. Then those Gnanis who have attained the real knowledge of the Sadvastu will give you Upadesha, that is the instructions about Gnana. Then Baba said, Nana, I do not want this sort of summary of the whole stanza. Give me one word, its grammatical force and meaning. Then Baba made Nana explain it word by word. Then Baba said, Nana, is it enough to merely prostrate? Nana, I do not know any other meaning of the word pranipata other than prostrating. Baba, what is pariprashna? Nana, asking question. What does prashna mean? The same thing, said Nana. Baba, if pariprashna means the same as prashna, why did Vyasa add the prefix pari? Was Vyasa out of mind? Then Nana said, I do not know of any other meaning for this word. Then Baba, seva, what kind of seva is being referred to? Nana said, service, the kind we always do. Then Baba, is it enough to just render such service? Then Baba said, I do not know what more is signified by the word seva. Then Baba said, in the next line, Upadyakshanti te gnanam. Can you replace the word gnanam with any other word? Nana said, yes. Baba, what word? Nana, agnanam. Baba, using that word instead of gnanam, can any meaning be made out of the verse? Nana, no, the rules of the language give no such construction. Then Baba said, never mind, if it does not, is there any objection to use the word agnana if it gives the better sense? Nana, I do not understand how to interpret it. Then Baba said, why does Krishna ask Arjuna to see Gnanis or Tattvadarshis and to prostrate before them and serve them? Was not Krishna a Tattvadarshi, in fact, a Gnani himself? Then Nana said, yes, he was, but I cannot understand why he referred Arjuna to the Gnanis. Baba, have you not understood this? Nana was humiliated. His pride was knocked on the head. Then Baba began to explain. It is not merely enough to prostrate before Gnani. We must surrender before them completely. Sarvasva Sharanagati. Second, mere questioning is not enough. The question must not be asked with any improper motive to trap the Guru and catch mistakes in his answer or out of idle curiosity. It must be serious and with the objective of achieving moksha or the spiritual progress. Third one, seva is not rendering service, retaining still the feeling that one is free to offer or refuse service. One must feel that he is not the master of the body and that the body is the Guru's and exists merely to render service to him. If this is done, the Sadguru will show you what Gnana is. Nana did not understand what was meant by saying that the Guru teaches. Baba, how was Gnana Upadesh, imparting of realization, to be affected? Destroying ignorance is Gnana. A verse of the Gnaneshwari commenting on the Gita says, is there anything in Gnana besides destruction of ignorance? Expelling darkness means light. Destroying duality, Dvaita, means non-duality, Advaita. Whenever we speak of destroying Dvaita, we speak of Advaita. Whenever we talk of destroying darkness, we talk of light. If we have to realize the Advaita state, the feeling of Dvaita in ourself has to be removed. This is the realization of the Advaita state. The disciple, like the Sadguru, is really the embodiment of Gnana. The difference between the two lies in the attitude, realization, and divine manifestation. The Sadguru is Nirguna, Satchit Ananda. He has taken a human form to elevate mankind and raise the world. But his real Nirguna nature is not affected even a bit through this process. His state of being or reality, divine power, and wisdom remain undiminished. The disciple also is in fact the same, but the disciple's soul is overlaid by the effect of the samaskaras of innumerable births in the shape of ignorance about the fact that he is in fact Shuddha Chaitanya. As stated herein, he gets the impression, I am the Jiva, a creature, humble and poor. The Guru has to root out these offshoots of ignorance and has to give upadesha or instructions to the disciple held spellbound for endless generation by the ideas of his being a creature humble and pure. The Guru imparts in hundreds of births the teaching, your God, mighty and opulent. Then he realizes a bit that he is God in reality. The perpetual delusion under which the disciple is laboring, that he is the body, that he is a creature, and that God, that is Paramatma, and the world are different from him, is an error inherited from innumerable past births. From actions based on it, he has derived his joy, sorrows, and mixtures of both. To remove the delusion, this error, this root ignorance, he must start the inquiry. How did such ignorance arise? Where is it? And to show him that this is called the Guru's Upadesha. The following are the instances. First one is I am a Jiva, that is the creature. Second, the body is the soul. I am the body. Third, God, the world and the Jiva are different. 4. I am not God. 5. Not knowing that the body is not the soul. 6. Not knowing that God, the word and the Jiva are one. Unless these errors are exposed, the disciples cannot know what God, the Jiva, the world, and the body are and how they are interrelated. To teach him these and destroy his ignorance is this instructions in Gnana or Agnana. Why should Gnana be imparted to the Jiva who is a Gnana Murti? Upadesh is merely to show him his error and destroy his ignorance. Baba then added, Pranipada implies surrender. Surrender must be of the body, mind, and wealth. Why should Krishna refer Arjuna to other Gnanis? Sadbhakta takes everything to be Vasudev. Any guru will be Krishna to the devotee. And the guru takes the disciple to the Vasudev, and Krishna treats both as his prana and atma. As Krishna knows that there are such bhaktas and gurus, he refers Arjuna to them so that their greatness may increase and be known. Let's know the story of the construction of the Samadhi Mandir. Baba never made a fuss about the things he wanted to accomplish. Rather, he skillfully arranged his circumstances and surroundings such that people were surprised at the slow but sure results attained. The construction of the Samadhi Mandir is an instance in the point. Shriman Bapu Saheb Bhuti, the famous multimillionaire from Nagpur, lived in Shirdi with the family. Once an idea arose in his mind and that he should have a building of his own there. Shortly after this, while he was sleeping in Dikshit's Vada, he had a vision. Baba appeared in his dreams and ordered him to build a Vada. Vada is a mansion of his own with a temple attached. Shama, who was also sleeping there, had a similar vision. When Bapu Sahib woke up, He saw Shama crying and asked him why he was crying. The latter replied that in his vision Baba came to him and ordered him distinctly, "Build the vada with the temple. I shall fulfill everyone's desire." Hearing these sweet and loving words, I was overpowered with emotions. My throat was choked, my eyes were overflowing with tears, and I began to cry. Bapu Saheb was surprised to learn that both their visions were identical. Being a rich and capable man, he decided to build Wada there and drew up a plan with Madhav Rao, Shama. Kaka Saheb Dikshit also approved of it. And when it was placed before Baba, he also sanctioned it immediately. Then the construction was started, and under Shama's supervision, the ground floor, the cellar, and the well were completely completed. Baba, on his way to and from the Lendi, also suggested certain improvements and changes. Further work was entrusted to Bapu Sahib Jog, and as the building began to take shape, an idea struck Bapu Sahib Bhuti. He felt that the building should have an open room or platform, and that in the theatre of the room, the image of Lord Krishna with the flute should be installed. He asked Shama to refer this matter to Baba and he get his consent. The latter asked Baba about this when he was passing by the Vada. Baba gave his consent, saying, "After the temple is complete, I'll come there to stay." And staring in at the Vada, he added, "After the Vada is complete, we shall use it ourselves. We shall live, move, play, embrace each other, and be very happy." Then Shama asked Baba whether this was an auspicious time to begin work on the foundation of the central room of the shrine. Baba answered in the affirmative. Shama got a coconut broken and started his work. In due course, the work was completed and an order was also given to paint a large image of Lord Krishna. But before it was ready, there was a new development. Baba became seriously ill and was about to pass away. Bapu Saheb was very sad and dejected and thought that if Baba passed away, this Vada would not be consecrated by the holy touch of Baba's feet. Thus, all the money spent would be wasted. But the words, "Place me in the Vada," which came out of Baba's mouth just before his passing away, consoled everyone. In due course, Baba's holy body was placed and preserved in the central shrine designed for Lord Krishna, and the Vada thus became the Samadhi Mandir of Sai Baba. Thus, Baba became Lord Krishna. His wonderful life is unfathomable. Blessed and fortunate indeed is Bapu Sahib Bhuti, in whose Vada lies the holy and pure body of Baba. End of chapter 39. Om Sai Ram. Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 40. Topics: attending Mrs. Dio's Udyapan ceremony as a sannyasi with two others, and visiting Hemad Pant's house in the form of a picture. Preliminary: blessed is Sri Sai Samarth, who gives his devotees instructions in both temporal and spiritual matters and makes them happy by enabling them to achieve the goal of their life. When Baba places his hands on their heads, he transfers his powers to them and thus destroys the sense of differentiation and makes them attain that unattainable thing. He embraces devotees who prostrate themselves before him with no sense of duality or difference. He becomes one with devotees, the way the rivers merge with sea, and gives them his power and position. Mrs. Dio's Udyapan ceremony. Mr. B.V. Dio was a Mamaldar in Dahanu, It's a town in Thane district. His mother had observed 25 or 30 different oaths and an udyapan ceremony was to be performed. This ceremony included the feeding of about 200 Brahmins. Mr. Dio set a date for the ceremony and wrote a letter to Bapu Sahib Jog, asked him to request Sai Baba to attend the ceremony. He wrote that without Baba's attendance, the ceremony would not be duly completed. Bapu Sahib Jog read Baba the letter. Baba carefully noted the pure hearted invitation and said, I always think of him who remembers me. I require no conveyance, carriage, train, or aeroplane. I run and manifest myself to anyone who lovingly call me. Write him a reply that three of us, you, me, and a third person, will attend. Mr. Jog informed Dio of what Baba said. The latter was very pleased, but he knew that Baba never went to any place except Rahata, Rui, and Neemgaon in person. He also knew that nothing was impossible for Baba, as he was all pervading and that he might suddenly come in any form he likes and fulfill his promise. A few days before the Udyapan, a sannyasi, professing to work for the cause of the protection of cows, came to the station master at the Hanu to collect subscriptions. The latter told him to go into town and see the Mamaltar, that is Mr. Dio, and with his help collect funds. Just then the Mamaldar happened to come there. The station master introduced the sannyasi to him, and Mr. Dio and the sannyasi then sat and talked on the station platform. Mr. Dio told him that a donation list for some other charitable cause had already been started by another prominent citizen, and thus it would not be appropriate to start another donation list right away. He told the sannyasi that it would be better if he came back after a few months. The sannyasi left, promising to return. On the day of the ceremony, the sannyasi came in a tanga that stopped in front of Mr. Dio's house at about 10 a.m. Dio thought that he had come to discuss the donation. Seeing him busy with the preparation for the ceremony, the sannyasi said that he had not come for money but for meals. Dio said, All right, we are very glad and you're welcome. The house is yours. The sannyasi then said, There are two lads with me. Dio, please bring them too, as there were still 2 hours till lunch. Dio inquired where he should send for them. The sannyasi said that it was not necessary, as they would come at the appointed time. Dio asked him to come at noon. Exactly at noon, the trio arrived, had their meals, and left. After the ceremony was over, Dio wrote a letter to Bapu Sahib Jog complaining of Baba's breach of promise. Jog went to Baba with the letter, but before it was opened, Baba spoke. He says that I promised to come but deceived him. Inform him that I did attend a ceremony with 2 others, but he failed to recognize me. Then why did he invite me in the first place? Tell him that he thought that the sannyasi had come to ask for subscription money. Did I not clear his doubts in that respect? And did I not say that I would come with 2 others? And did not the trio come on time and have their meals? See, to keep my word, I would even sacrifice my life. I would never be untrue to my words. Thus reply gladdened Jog's heart, and he communicated Baba's entire reply to Dio. As soon as Dio read it, he burst into tears of joy, but he took himself to task mentally for vainly blaming Baba. He wondered how he was deceived by the sannyasi's prior visit and his coming to him for donations, and how he also failed to catch the significance of the sannyasi's words that he would come with 2 other for meals. This story clearly shows that when devotees surrender themselves completely to the Sadguru, he sees that the religious ceremonies in their house are duly executed and completed with all the necessary formalities. V- Visiting Hemad Pant's house in the form of a picture. Now, let us talk about another story which shows how Baba appeared in the form of his picture and fulfilled the desires of his devotee. One morning in 1917, Hemad Pant had a vision. Baba appeared to him in his dreams in the form of a well dressed sannyasi, woke him up and said that he would come to Hemad Pant's house for meals that day. When he woke, he couldn't see Sai, but he remembered each and every word Baba said in his dream. Though he had been in contact with Baba for 7 years, and though he always meditated on Baba, he had never expected Baba would come to his house for meals. However, very pleased with Baba's words, he went to his wife and informed her that since it was holy, a sannyasi guest was coming for meals and that some extra rice should be prepared. She asked who the guest was and when is he coming. Then, so as not to lead her astray and not to cause any misunderstanding, he told her the truth. She doubtingly asked whether it was possible that Baba would come from Shirdi, leaving behind dainty dishes to accept their coarse food. Hemad Pant then assured her that Baba might not come in person, but that he might attend in form of a guest, and that they would lose nothing if they cooked some extra rice. After this, preparation for lunch continued, and it was ready at noon. The Holika worship was conducted, and the leaves were spread and arranged with rangoli marks around them. Two rows of seats were arranged with a central seat between them for the guest. All the members of the family, sons, grandsons, daughters, and son in law came and occupied their proper seats, and the serving of the various dishes commenced. Everybody was waiting for the guest, but no one turned up. Though it was past noon, then the door was closed and chained. The Anna Shuddhi ghee was served. This was a signal to start eating. A formal offering to the Vaishwadev, that is fire, and Naivedya to Sri Krishna were also completed, and the family was about to begin eating when they suddenly heard footsteps in the staircase. Hemad Pant went immediately and opened the door and saw two men there, Ali Muhammad and Maulana Ismu Mujawar. These two men, seeing that the whole family was about to begin eating, apologized to Hemad Pant and requested him to excuse. They said, "You left your seat and came running to us. Your family is waiting for you. So please take this and we shall relate the wonderful tale about it later on at your convenience." Saying this, Ali Muhammad took out from under his armpit a packet wrapped in an old newspaper and placed it on the table. Hemad Pant unwrapped the packet and saw to his great wonder and surprise a nice big picture of Sai Baba. Seeing it, he was moved. Tears ran from his eyes and hair stood on end all over his body, and he bent and placed his head at Baba's feet in the picture. He thought the Baba had blessed him by his Leela. Out of curiosity, he asked Ali Muhammad when he got this picture. He said that he had bought it from a shop and that he would give all the details about it sometime later, and wished that Hemad Pant should go back and join the family, as they were all waiting for him. Hemad Pant thanked him, bade them goodbye, and returned to the dining hall. The picture was placed on the central seat reserved for the guest, and after the due offering of Naivedya, the whole family began eating. Seeing the beautiful form in the picture, everybody was extremely pleased and wondered how all this happened. This is how Sai Baba kept his word to Hemad Pant. The story of the picture with all its details, how Ali Muhammad bought it and how he ended up giving it to Hemad Pant, reserved for the next chapter. End of the chapter 40. Om Sai Ram, Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai.